Hi, sixth graders. In class today, we talked a little bit about dialogues and how valuable they can be as study aids. In the Middle Ages, the dialogue was understood to be two or more people in a text talking to one another. It was a classical writing technique, but it was used in the Middle Ages for training law scholars or lawyers, and also for imparting important church teachings. The medical profession also used it, although to a lesser degree than either the church or the legal scholars of the day. There were always two characters, at least, in a dialogue. In many dialogues, they're given the names Simplicio and Sagrado, but not in all of them. But in essence, there's always a dumb character and there's always a smart character. The dumb character starts off by saying dumb things, gradually becomes aware of his errors. He asks better and better questions as time goes on. He eventually realizes his mistakes and agrees with Sagrado. The smart one, Sagrado, is kind and patient and gentle. He explains how Simplicio has made an error in judgment. He occasionally loses his temper a little bit, but mostly he's logical and rational. And he finally demonstrates to Simplicio's own satisfaction how he's wrong and how to fix his mental state. In some dialogues, although not in all, there's a third character, Salviati, the faithful one. And Salviati asks better questions than Simplicio, but he's prepared to be persuaded by Sagrado, and he generally speaks for church doctrine and classical authors. I'm not asking you to write including Salviati, but in the long run it may be helpful to know that a third character is okay. It's just important to remember that it's usually a tag team job. Salviati and Sagrado are always on the same side, and Simplicio, the dumb one, is the one who's brought around. So we'll leave Salviati out of the picture, and we'll look at an example from today's homework. The basics of the story in our book is this. Pope Gregory excommunicates King Henry IV because Henry is meddling in church affairs. Henry IV puts on very simple clothes and he walks barefoot from Germany to Italy in order to persuade the Pope to forgive him. Pope Gregory does forgive him. Henry walks back to Germany, reclaims the crown, raises an army, puts down all of his enemies in Germany, and then comes back to Italy and deposes Pope Gregory and installs a new pope in his place. If you were going to write a dialogue, it's important to remember that Sagrado always wins. So if Simplicio says the Pope did the wrong thing in forgiving Henry IV, then Sagrado is going to say that King Henry made Germany stronger and improved people's lives. And he's gradually going to bring Simplicio around to that point of view by the end of the dialogue. If you choose to write from this point of view, where Simplicio says the Pope did the right thing in forgiving Henry IV, then Sagrado is going to take the opposite point of view. He's going to say, by forgiving Henry, Gregory made the church weaker. And that's going to be the point of view that Sagrado is going to argue all the way through until Simplicio finally agrees that, in fact, Gregory made the church weaker by giving in to Henry and forgiving him. So you can see that the art of the dialogue is designed to train your brain to see both sides of the argument. But you set up the argument ahead of time so that the side that you want to have win the argument is posed by Sagrado at the very beginning of the dialogue. And in this way, you get to answer the most likely arguments from Simplicio, and you can see that I've left some spaces here for you to work from. And Sagrado has to answer those objections with strong arguments of his own. If you discover in the course of writing a dialogue about some subject that you are agreeing with the things that Simplicio is saying, that means that you started the dialogue from the wrong point of view. I hope this helps you become a better writer and thinker.